So the point is, you see how Asuras, they don't think of how to benefit the larger human race in the permanent way, how to give them the permanent benediction, how to give them eternal liberation from birth, death, disease and old age. They are only thinking how to accelerate the death of other people so that with that power I'll be able to rule over everybody else. And their exploitative nature is such that they are not even grateful to the personalities who are giving them the real power. And you see Lord Shiva's nature, all devatas are like this. It's not only Lord Shiva. They do not discriminate when an asura approaches them. If I give this benediction to them, will this be beneficial to everyone? And is he qualified to receive this benediction? They never think. On the other hand, Vishnu, if somebody approaches Vishnu for some material motive, forget about the devotees of Krishna. If somebody approaches Krishna or Vishnu with a material motive, so how does Krishna look at it? How does Krishna fulfill their desire or not? So this is explained by the Devatas themselves. In the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a description by Shukadeva Goswami of how the Devatas submitted their prayers to Vishnu. So when they submitted their prayers to Vishnu, one of the things that they said was, Satyam dishatyarthitam arthito nrinam naivarthado yat punararthito yataha. So they said, the Devatas said, Satyam, it is a true fact that dishati, you grant, arthitam, arthito arthitam. Whatever nrinam, whatever a man, whatever a human being may arthitaha, he may come to you with some material request that I want this, I want that, I want some money, I want a beautiful wife, I want some higher status in life, I want to get elevated to the Swargaloka. It may be anything. A person, nrinam of such a person, arthitaha, he approaches Krishna with such material desires. Satyam dishati artham. So Krishna definitely, he will grant such material desires also of a person. At the same time, naivarthado yat punararthida. If Krishna sees that punararthita, if I give this benediction to this person, if I grant his wish this one time, he will again and again come and ask me for the same thing. If Krishna sees this, then what Krishna will do? Naivarthado, he will not grant that desire. Krishna will give that desire if he sees, okay, one time he is asking something, let me satisfy, Krishna will give. But if Krishna sees that if I fulfill his desire now, again and again he will go on asking me for the same thing. He will ask me for 100 rupees today, I'll grant him 100, tomorrow he'll come and ask me for 1000, I'll give him 1000, tomorrow, day after tomorrow he'll come and ask me for 10,000, I'll give him 10,000, after that he'll come and ask me for 1,00,000, like this it will go on. So Krishna will, if Krishna says, punararthitaha, if he sees that the person who has approached him, his devotee will again and again ask for the same thing, then Krishna will not give. So, on the other hand, but Krishna does not stop there. It's not that Krishna will discriminate like this and he will stop. No. What Krishna will do, he will, on the other hand, what Krishna will do, he will swayam vidatte bhajatam anichchatam ichchapidanam nijapada pallavam. So Krishna sees that this person, he has come to me seeking some benediction, but poor fellow, he is ignorant, he does not know that by this material benediction, he is going to get stuck up in this material world of repeated birth and death. So suppose somebody comes and asks me that I want poison, please give me poison. Why should I give him poison? On the other hand, I will give him nectar. I will tell him it is poison and I will give him nectar so that he may be saved from death. This is Krishna's thinking. So what Krishna does? Swayam vidatte bhajatam anichchatam. The devotee is not approaching Krishna saying that, oh Krishna, I want you. I want your lotus feet. I want to surrender unto you. I want bhakti. I want to go back to God. These are none of his desires. Anichchatam. He has no such desire. But bhajatam, he is approaching Krishna and worshipping him with some material motive in mind. But without keeping that aside, what Krishna does is, he nijapada pallavam, he will give the shelter of his lotus feet to that devotee, and swayam vidatte, he will deliver himself to that devotee. He will say, you are asking for some material, some tuchha thing, some most lowest thing you are asking, which is, which has no value. Instead of that, you take me. Krishna will deliver himself to that devotee. He will give the shelter of his lotus feet to that devotee, although the devotee has no such desire. And by giving him the shelter of his lotus feet, and by giving himself to that devotee, what happens? Ichchapidhanam. All of that persons of that, all the material desires of the devotee, all the desires with which he came and surrendered to Krishna or Vishnu, what happens? All those desires get covered up. They get satisfied simply by obtaining the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. The most brilliant example of this is Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj approached Krishna for what? He wanted a planet, he wanted a kingdom greater than his father's. That was his whole motive. He had no motive to go back to Godhead, to become devotee of Krishna, none of those things. He just wanted to get a benediction. But within 6 months, he did various austerities, and because of his strong desire to get that such a powerful kingdom, within 6 months, he was able to execute the austerities as directed by Narada Muni, and he could have darshan of Lord Vishnu. And the moment he had darshan of Lord Vishnu, Vishnu asked him, my dear Dhruva, you are doing so many austerities to please me. Please tell me what you want. What benediction do you want? When Vrikasura was asked, what benediction do you want? What did he say? If I keep my hand on somebody's head, it should burst and that person should die. So, Dhruva could also have asked for some such terrible boon, but no. At least he could have asked for whatever purpose he came. He could have asked, I want a kingdom bigger than my father's. He could have asked. But on the other hand, the moment he saw Lord Vishnu, he was captivated by his beauty. And what did he say? Sthanabhilashi tapasi sthitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam kacham vichinvanapi divyaratnam swamin kritarthosmi varam nayache. So he said that sthanabhilashi, I was looking for some big material designation. Tapasi sthitoham, and desiring that big material position of having rulership over a kingdom greater than my father's. Tapasi sthitoham, I was conducting various austerities to please you. And sthanabhilashi tapasi sthitoham tvam praptavan deva munindra guhyam. But as a result of that, what happened? I got you, tvam praptavan, I got you. Deva munindra guhyam, you who are not obtainable even to the devatas and to the great munis and rishis who are undergoing so much tapasya, very easily I got you. Kacham vichinvanapi divyaratnam. Kacham means broken pieces of glass. I was searching for some broken pieces of glass. But what did I get? Divyaratnam, I got a divine jewel. A priceless divine jewel I got in my hand. Kritarthosmi, I am fully satisfied now. I don't want those pieces of glass. I don't want that big designation I was asking for. I don't want a kingdom. I don't want to become the king. I don't want anything. Kritarthosmi, all my desires satisfied. Ichchapidhanam, all my desires are satisfied. So this is the result of worshipping Krishna. Varam na yache, please don't give me any benediction. Dhruva Maharaj is saying, I don't want any benediction. Over, all desires for benediction over. So this is the difference between worshipping Krishna and worshipping a Devata. A Devata, he will not discriminate. Whatever you want, blindly he will give you. Whereas if you go to Krishna, you will go searching for something small, very insignificant thing. Krishna will give himself to you. This is the greatest beauty of devotional service to Krishna.